We're going to start and talk. One of the most important things when you're talking to any sellers is being able to accurately estimate the rehab costs. Now, what they've got is, it looks like pretty good software to give you a pretty good estimator. I've got the method I've used for years, and it's pretty simple, but I put it to paper. So on that paper I asked you to get before, write down, if you can see this, well, it goes backwards. Here you go. Write down $10, $20, $30, $40. We're going to talk about that. Okay. 10, 20, 30, 40. I put that on your paper. All right. How to quickly estimate. Now, most of these sellers will tell you that their house is great, needs nothing, right? Okay. So if they haven't repainted and recarpeted within the last 6 months, that house needs paint and carpet. Anything that was not painted or carpeted, recarpeted, repainted in the last 6 months needs paint and carpet. So if the house needs paint and carpet only, everything else is good, kitchens, bathrooms, everything, there's nothing leaking, nothing broke, it's $10 per square foot. That's what you figure, $10 per square foot. Now there's going to be some exceptions to that, but that's paint and carpet only, actually. All right. If they tell you, oh, the carpet's great, the paint's perfect, all that kind of stuff, all you got to do is talk to these guys and say, listen, have you ever watched any of those shows on TV where they fix this house, flip this house, that kind of thing? Yes. You know what those things look like when they're done? Brand new paint, brand new carpet, never been walked on, marble floors, granite countertops. If your house doesn't look like that, then I got to do the work to get it up to that point, because I'm going to fix it to sell it. Now, you may not fix it to sell it, but you may be selling it to somebody who's going to fix it to sell it. Or you may want to fix it and sell it yourself. So you can't put up with baloney from these sellers when they're like, oh, my house is perfect, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't make any difference. All right. If the kitchen and bathrooms haven't been remodeled in the last 5 years, obviously you're going to need paint, carpet, now kitchens and bathrooms redone. So paint, carpet, kitchens, and bathrooms, $20 a square foot. Okay. And that will get everything redone in that regard. All right. If there are any leaks, electrical problems, or you have either a non-functioning or even non-existent HVAC, remember today, everything needs a heater and air conditioner. Even if you only need heat for 30 days a year, or if you only need cooling because you live at the beach for 14 days a year, you still got to have a functioning HVAC. That's what's expected out there. So if you've got to do paint, carpet, kitchen, bathroom remodel, and anything's wrong with the electrical, plumbing, or HVAC, you're looking at $30 a square foot. It doesn't matter how little or how much. Now, if it's let's assume electrical's perfect and it's new, and plumbing's perfect, it's new, and it's a $500 fix on HVAC, you're obviously going to overestimate for this. But I can tell you, if one thing is broken in a house, there's something else broke. They don't ever come in singles. They usually come in triples and quadruples. Things fall apart all over the place, all at the same time. Okay, if you're going to do a complete gut rehab, you're going to basically take it down to the studs and redo it. You're looking at $40 a square foot. Okay, so you're on the phone with somebody. We're going to talk about one of these coming up here shortly. This house had been lived in for 28 years. That we're going to talk about. It has had nothing done to it for 28 years. That's a complete gut rehab. I can tell you that the electrical and the plumbing were done with different materials. It was something beyond 28 years, right? The house was built in 1960. Who knows what was done before that? But for sure, nothing's been done in 28 years. So that to me is a complete gut and rehab. That's a $40 per square foot deal. All right. Now there's a few exceptions and a few other things that I want to cover. We can just start listing them. These are going to be just stream of consciousness. First of all, do not trust what the seller tells you the square footage of the house. Doesn't matter what they say. Only thing that matters is what the county assessor has. Okay. They're going to tell you it's 2,000. You're going to look at the county assessor, which is the same as Zillow and PropStream. That's usually the same number. And it's going to show 1,350 square feet. And we're going to talk about this a little bit next week or later today if we have time on negotiation. If somebody says it's 2,000 square feet, but everybody, the assessor and all that says 1,350, that means they built something illegally without benefit of permit. It is illegal now to sell a house where they knowingly have put something in without benefit of permit. You guys have probably seen all the news. If you're in the regular apprentice group, you've been hearing me talk about how these various county and state governments are hiring extra people to come around and fine folks that they can catch who've done illegal additions. The reason is because the government knows they can get money from people who have money. Who's got money today? It's owners of houses who've owned them for more than 5 years because there's a lot of equity. So if there's something illegal in that house, they're going to catch you. And you can tell the seller, if you don't believe me, you call the assessor's office and you ask them, or you tell them, listen, I think there's something wrong here. I guarantee you they'll have somebody out tomorrow, because that's a $27,000 fine if you're in California and the government needs the money. So you only go with the square footage that's shown on whatever they show, the assessor's office, okay? The next thing is, no matter what size the house, if it's below 1,000 square feet, you use 1,000 as your minimum. So in other words, if they have an 800 square foot house, you use 1,000 and use those $10, $20, $30, and $40 things that I just told you. So below 1,000 square feet, use 1,000 as a minimum. It's to get a 700 square foot house painted and carpeted is going to cost you the same as a 1,000 square foot house. You're not going to get a break because it's smaller, right? It's still going to be the same amount of money from your proper paint and carpet guys. All right. If you have anything, if you have a pool and that pool hasn't been remodeled, replastered, or the motor hasn't been touched in 5 years or longer, figure $5,000 extra. Just add $5,000 to your rehab budget. Unless the house is spectacular in the front yard and the backyard when you see it. Now, these are the yards, because remember, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. So unless the yard is spectacular, just plug in $5,000 to your cost. So however you look at it, to redo a yard is going to be $5,000. Can you do them cheaper? Yes, but some houses are going to be much more. If you've got a non-permitted addition, now remember, we talked about the fact that it's illegal to sell that. You can buy it knowingly with an illegal addition, but you will have to pay the cost of the demolition to bring it back to what it was. And that is an extra cost because you've got to make sure that it comports to what the original building specs were. So put $3,000 extra in for that. Non-permitted addition, add $3,000. If you've got termites, there's only a few areas of the country that have real termite issues. And California, unfortunately, is one of them. You can add, I don't care what you do, to get an inspection. If these guys breathe on fascia board, it's going to cost you $3,000. Just put $3,000 in. If you're in a state, and almost every state, probably 47 or 48 states that require permits for, in fact, I think now every state requires a permit for building, and you're in the $30 or $40 category, just add $3,000 for permit. If you've got black or green mold, add $5,000 for remediation. And finally, if you've got to replace a roof, now in the numbers we talked about above, we've got numbers in there to patch a roof. It's like a square or two of roofing materials. And if you don't know what a square is, I'd look it up on Google. But if you got to replace a roof, it's $7. It's $7 a square foot, roughly. Once again, can you get it cheaper? Yes. Are there materials that cost a lot more? Absolutely. But just figure $7 a square foot. All right, two more things. If you're in a metro area that's above 1 million people, add 25% to those numbers. Okay, so let's say, for example, St. Louis, metro area is above 1 million, just as an example. So you'd add 25% to those numbers. Maybe St. Louis is not a good example. Let's use Florida. Let's say Orlando. you'd add 25%. You don't need to put that down. If you're in an area where the population exceeds $5 million, you could add 50% to those numbers. %. So here in Southern California, in Los Angeles, obviously we're way above. Orange County, San Diego County, Inland Empire, you add 50%. It's instead of $10 a square foot, it's going to cost 15. And primarily it's for two reasons. One, handyman are hard to get, and honest ones are even harder to find. And literally the cost of materials, anything involving either an oil-based product, gasoline, or wood, is much more expensive than it was even a year ago. So you can estimate these things very, very quickly over the phone, actually, if you can get some honesty and you can ask these people these questions.